Since the only prerequisite for a round off is a cartwheel, you want to start things off by doing a cartwheel. If you have a line, that can help you out a ton, but you can just do this literally anywhere, just in grass or something. But if you do have a line, try to put both feet on that line, put your arms up as high as possible, and then just do a cartwheel on that line and try to put your hands up at the end again. You want to make sure that you're in a pretty deep lunge, because if we're doing it from standing, then it's going to teach you how to generate all your own power and help you later on. Once you can do a good cartwheel where you do a true 180 on the line, or at least close to on the line, then you want to do a one-hand cartwheel. This is going to force you to kick harder and teach you the 180 motion using only the one hand, which is going to help you later for your power and your alignment. Then literally all you have to do is push off with that second hand. Once you've already done the 180, keep your feet together and stand up tall, and you've done yourself a round off. At first, it's totally fine to just like land in a push-up position or land in a squat or a crouch or something. As long as you are doing a cartwheel on one hand, putting the second hand down at the last second, and then landing on both feet simultaneously, then you're technically doing a round off. Once you can do that though, you want to push off and kind of like explode once that second hand touches, and then try to get some hang time or some air time before you land and get your chest and arms up at the end. If you do it correctly, then you'll rebound, which means you hit the ground and bounce a little bit at the end of it. The one thing you never want to do is land on your knees. If you can get far enough to land on your knees, then you can get far enough to land on your feet. So keep your eyes on the ground, and if you see the ground and you know you're not going to make it, just tuck in, press hard with your arms, and land on your feet instead. If you get injured, you're not going to be doing any more round-offs this day. So do a super fast one-hand cartwheel where the second hand touches at the last second, push off through your shoulders with both hands, get some air time, get your chest and arms up, bounce on both feet, on the balls of your feet, rebound, and then you've got yourself an extremely good round-off. And if you're finding this video helpful, then please hit the like button for me. It really helps out a lot. That's really all you need to know. But since this is my channel, let's dive deeper. The goal of a round-off is to set up for another trick. So back handspring, backflip, full, double full, whatever you want to do out of your round off, it is a setup move, getting you power for the next thing that you're about to do. It's even the setup I used to get my first dub. It's quite literally a cartwheel where your feet come together and then you push off. This creates a rock skipping across water effect where you are lighter than if you were just standing there because of the added momentum and the added upwards momentum that you push yourself. So you are very light when you hit, but you have a lot of force and a lot of momentum. So you can use that to your advantage, standing up straight or leaning back to manipulate your body in any way you like. So to break it down into its components, it's a cartwheel, but that cartwheel must have a good pirouette. A pirouette is just a turn or a pivot, usually done in like ballet or something like that. But in this case, we're doing it on our hands like a handstand pirouette. In this case, all we need to do is turn 180 degrees. So we just need to get our momentum going in one direction and then turn it 180 degrees and then push off. You kick back extremely hard with the back leg, and then once the second leg is catching up, you just squeeze them together and do a really powerful handstand snap down. Make sure you push through your shoulders, you get your head upright, and then you land in a standing position if you're trying to rebound, which you should try to rebound. To rebound, all you need to do is flex your calves. Point through the balls of your feet, keep your arms up, stay in a slightly hollowed position, and then just let the momentum that you built up push you up into the air. If you do a round off correctly, whatever trick you're trying to do out of the round off, you should be halfway through that trick by the time you are done with the round off. So if you're doing a back handspring, you're already leaning back by the time you land the round off because you are rebounding leaning backwards. So you're almost done with it by the time you actually have to put any effort in. So you can just focus on landing your hands and pushing again for a good round off to set up for whatever else you want to do. If you're trying to rebound upwards or go for a twist or something, then you want to push off and get your chest completely upright so that you can raise your hands. And again, you're halfway through something already by the time you tuck. In my examples, my arms aren't coming up that much because I don't want to over rotate and do like a double back. Because I'm doing this so powerfully, if I try to get my arms up right now, I tend to almost over rotate. But you want to train it with your arms up because then you're halfway through a backflip by the time you actually hit the ground. And you have so much momentum left over that all you have to do is really tuck and you do the backflip. That's what makes this such a powerful setup. And I know what you're gonna say, but Coach Zach, it doesn't work on grass. Yes, it does. It works on any surface as long as you hit the angles right and you land on the balls of your feet and you push correctly. If your technique is good, it's gonna work on any surface. Also, specifically for tricking, this is the introduction to most people for the punch variation. It's similar to envergado or double leg or any other kind of like punching motion. So you could use this to do like a round off punch backside 9 or something like that, but it wasn't working out for me. But you can use this to learn a ton of different tricks, not just flips. I just wanted to point that out. So you have questions. What's a cartwheel? Well, I have a cartwheel tutorial linked right here and down below in the description. Watch that because it's very in-depth, and then come back to this video. I'm not going to go over that here. Next question I'm sure you have. What's a handstand snap-down? A handstand snap-down is where you just go up into a handstand and then you do this arch hollow motion. So you arch so that your stomach starts coming towards the ground and building up momentum, and then you hollow and push off at the same time. That makes you go up into the air a little bit, and then you can just work on that rebound technique just from that setup, and you don't have to focus on doing all the cartwheel beforehand. You can do this on the ground, but it kind of makes you make concessions, so you kind of want to find a ledge or something that you can do a handstand up onto comfortably, hold the handstand for a second, and then come down and push off. Just make sure whatever you're doing it on is not super hard, so that if you end up forward rolling or something, then you're not going to hurt yourself. And if for some reason you don't have a handstand, then you should probably work on that. I have a tutorial linked down below and right here in the card. Every tricker should be able to do a handstand. You can also use that same ledge that you trained your handstand snap down on by going to the other side of the ledge and doing it either off of or up and over, depending on the shape of the ledge. But you can just do a cartwheel and then handstand snap down at the end because you did a good pirouette 180, and then you just handstand snap down and rebound, and then you're doing a round off. You do a cartwheel, turn 180, handstand snap down, and you got yourself a round off. But Zach, don't people normally run into round-offs? Yes, almost exclusively, but you don't want to train it running first because you can make a lot more errors and you can hurt yourself really bad if you don't know what you're doing. So try to do it standing first, build up the power. It's kind of like training with weights because it's technically harder, and then when you actually do learn to do it running, it's going to be so much easier for you. So try to learn it standing first. If you need to learn how to hurdle and you don't know yet, there are two types of hurdles for a round-off. There's a power hurdle where you jump off of both feet, land on the first foot that isn't going to be in the lunge. So for me, it's my right foot. Then you step with the second foot and go right into that cartwheel or round off, and that's a power hurdle. Jump forward off of both feet while you swing up both arms, land on the back leg, land on the front leg, and then go for whatever you need to. For a true hurdle, you normally do this from a run, but you should start standing. If you're doing it on my side, which means you twist to your left, then you're going to start with your right leg in front. You're going to swing your left leg up into a knee or a chamber. You're going to jump off of one leg, land on that same leg. So for me, it's right, and then you're going to put your left foot down in a lunge. So it's jump off right, land on left, do your round off, and you're done. Then you just do this from a run, and whenever you land on that right foot, you just jump off right, land on right, and then there's your hurdle. Make sure you jump forward. You don't want to jump super high up. The more you jump forward, the more acceleration you're giving yourself, so the easier it's going to be for you. And especially if you've been training it standing this whole time, then once you add the hurdle, you're going to feel like a superhero. It can be really tricky to get your hurdle down for a lot of people. I have so many students who have trouble with this, so take your time learning your hurdle. Don't be ashamed if it takes you like a couple sessions to get your hurdle down for some reason. Say you need extra help and it didn't work for you on the ground. You just don't quite know what you're doing, or maybe you're not getting yourself enough power. You can use a wedge mat at a gym, or some kind of weird hill that cuts off at the end. I don't know. Start off standing on this and try to do a backwards kick hard enough to do a cartwheel up and over that wedge mat. Because of the added height, it can give you more time to get your legs together and practice the round off shape. Then, because it's kind of hard to do it up a ramp, you might want to add a little bit of a hurdle and try to add some momentum into it. Then all you need to do is do that 180, push off, and then rebound at the end, and you got yourself a round off. What? You don't have a wedge mat? Okay, fine. What about some blocks? You got blocks at your gym? Line up 2 blocks or whatever your body length is for a block that's a little bit elevated. Honestly, on this one, it's a little bit high, but if you can do it this high, then it'll just give you more power. It's okay if you have one lower than this. When you're doing cartwheels or round-offs up onto a block, you want to stand up fully, then go forward. If you go directly forward, then you're going to go around the side and you're not going to be able to actually kick over, and it's going to feel like garbage trash. All you want to do is reach extremely far, push up with that quad, kick backwards, and do a solid cartwheel over that. Then you just practice that one-hand technique again, and make sure you kick all the way down to the ground, because it's really going to help you learn to follow through all the way to the ground with this technique. Then, once you do that one hand, you just do the 180 pirouette, push off, rebound, and you got yourself a round off. What? You don't have blocks like this at your gym? Okay then, we can do something else. What about a roller mat? If you're at a gymnastics gym of any kind or a tumble gym, you should have a roller mat, right? You can use this to help you understand the alignment. You can do a cartwheel right in front of it, land on your stomach, step on down, and try to stay rigid through your back. It'll help push you up to your feet if you are standing up straight and you're going fast. This will also force you to do the pirouette properly because you have to do the pirouette in front of the block. From there, all you have to do is that cartwheel, and once your stomach hits, keep your feet together. Then just add a little bit of momentum with a hurdle, always landing on your stomach and trying to keep your body as stiff as possible so that you land on your feet and stand straight up. And then you keep doing that and push off harder and harder through your shoulders until you can round off up and over the obstacle. What? You don't have a roller mat? Okay, what about any mat that is about this height or lower that you can put in your way? It could be anything. A bush, barbed wire, whatever you need to not touch. You really want this to be knee height, but I'm gonna do this at about belly button height just to show you how much you wanna push off. But for real though, make sure it's something soft in case you like slam into it. You're saying you don't have anything? Nothing around you. You live in a desert or like salt flats or something? Okay, you got dirt? Everywhere has dirt. Unless you live in like Antarctica or something, then you have snow or ice. So just draw 2 parallel lines in the dirt, body length away from each other. Look at it, even this guy can do a round off. Come on! You can even make this setup deluxe by doing a straight line through both of those lines. So you can combine the first one with this one. You want it to be body length away because it's gonna teach you to reach out for your round off, which is gonna turn your linear directional force into upwards force when you rebound. So do your normal cartwheel, but go from one line to the other line and make sure you land with your chest up in a rigid shape. You want your foot to at least be able to touch the other line, but if you can cross the line, then that's even better. Then do the same thing with one hand like we did on all the other progressions. From there, naturally pirouette on that one hand, push off through your shoulders, and then rebound, and you got yourself a round off. Try to kick harder and harder, and then you'll be able to bounce eventually by kicking hard and then pushing off hard, and you will feel upwards force when you land. If you want to, you can draw a third body length line, and that's about how far you should hurdle before you do your round off. So even if you live in a barren wasteland, you can do a round off. Unless you live in like a void, like in Full Metal Alchemist or something. I do want to mention that while we're striving for a perfect pirouette and a 180 hand placement, it's almost never going to happen. Myself and professional gymnasts and other trickers almost never, if not never, put their hands completely 180, but it will be optimal to put your hands as close to 180 as possible because then you're just using your shoulders to push yourself backwards, so you're simultaneously pushing off. Whereas if it's in line, where it always ends up kind of being, then you're pushing off with one arm before you push off with the second arm, and it's not as unified of a force. So strive for that perfect 180 hand placement, but you're probably never gonna get it when you actually go fast. So let's go over common mistakes. The first most common mistake I see is not pushing enough. A lot of people think they need to pull their arms up on a round off, like they run and then they start their cartwheel and then you just pull your arms up as hard as you can, but that's actually not what you wanna do at all. You want to push through your arms, specifically through your shoulders, trying not to bend your arms that much, but if they do bend, it's not that big a deal as long as it's not a huge bend, and following through with that push all the way until literally you're in the next move. You want to do your round off and push through and keep pulling those arms up behind you and like keep like pushing, quote unquote, until you're in the next move, like a back handspring or a backflip. One way you can work on this is the handstand snap down from before, or you can go up against a wall, put both hands above your head into like a hollow position, and then push off using only your shoulders and your arch. It's pretty hard to do this at first, so start relatively close to standing. Then you just angle your feet out slowly over time, pushing more and more until you're almost parallel with the ground. If you can do it from almost this parallel to the ground, then you are more than ready to push for a round off. If you can do this, then you're probably doing something else wrong in your round off. It's not that you're not pushing enough. Another common mistake is something else you might be doing wrong, staying too stiff in your round off. A lot of people think it's this like rigid shape, which it kind of is, but you kind of need to go through an arch and a hollow while you're doing the round off to get a lot of snap down. You can do this by just doing arch holds and hollow holds on the ground. You can just watch TV or play video games in these positions so you can work on your conditioning. You can also work on the handstand snap down from before because you have to do those arch and hollow positions during that drill. Another common mistake I see a lot is not getting your chest up. You would think that if you're pushing really hard, then you'll automatically get your chest up, but you might actually be pushing extremely hard, but not really pulling with your lower back at all. You need to pull with your lower back and get yourself to standing independently of your arms to really get a solid round off. If you're not pulling your chest up after you push, then you can really hurt your back on this because you'll be landing in a pike and your lower back is gonna take a ton of impact, so please don't do this. Some conditioning drills you can do are have someone hold your legs and do these back lifts like this. Make sure you take these very seriously while you're doing them. Or if you have no friends, I get it. You can do basically the same exercise by just holding onto a bench or your bed or something, hanging your lower body off from your waist and just pulling your legs up really high over and over again. It uses the same muscles, so you're still training your lower back. You can also just do that arch hold from before. And the last most common mistake I see is not turning enough. You can also overturn sometimes, but most people who do that are powerful enough to correct themselves like really quickly. So most of the time it's that you're not turning enough. This can be extremely detrimental to you. You can hurt your knees extremely bad by doing this. So make sure that you practice that pirouette and you're turning 180 degrees when you are doing your round off, because if your momentum is going sideways, that's how you tear ACLs and MCLs and all kinds of knee injuries. And you don't want to get one of those catastrophic injuries this early in your tricking career just on like a round off. Another thing that can happen because of this is it may make you fly off in different directions. So you want to have all your momentum going in one direction, and then you want to turn 180 so you're going backwards to that direction of momentum for a proper round off. So Rasby and everybody else, I hope that helped you get or improve your round off. If it was helpful to you, please hit the like button for me. It really helps me out a lot. Thank you so much to my patrons. I couldn't do any of this without you guys. If you watching are not a patron and you want to become one, there's a link down below. For as little as $5 a month, you can get priority video requests, as well as access to a patron-only Discord and a few bonus videos here and there. And that's just the first tier. If a monthly donation is not your style, then there's always super thanks down below. Or you could use one of the affiliate links that I have down below. This is a Teefury shirt, and it is kind of like this funny compilation. You get it, Joker, but like Joker. But there's tons of other types of shirts on there, anime, gaming, all kinds of stuff. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I am an affiliate, so I get a kickback if you buy something from them using my link. I bet you didn't see that reference coming. And if you watched this far hoping that I would cover a cartwheel in this round off tutorial, you can check out my cartwheel tutorial there. It's quite in-depth. And if you already have your round off now after this tutorial and you want to take it to the next level, you can check out this tutorial here to take it to the next level. And if you are still watching at this point, then I appreciate you wholeheartedly.